Hey there, it's Anonymous Tea, where we spill the tea anonymously. Hello, everyone. Hello, YouTubers. Hope you guys are all having an amazing day today, sending good vibes, sending positivity, sending blessings, and good energy to each and every single one of you. Thank you so much for tuning in. So, anything I say is alleged and in my very, very personal opinion. This is for entertainment purposes only. None of this is personal. The Copyright Act of 1976 is in the description box. Some meat and potatoes, some housekeeping items. It is free to follow me. Free to follow me on this channel, Anonymous Tea. Free to follow me on my other channel, Anonymous Tea Podcast. There is new content over there. Follow me on the Tickety Talk at Anonymous Tea Podcast. Free to follow me on the Instagram. On the Instagram is at AnonymousRealityT. Free to share everywhere. Free to like the video so it gets out to the algorithm. Free to share with your family, your friends, and your foes, and coming or going, hit the like button. So today we are talking Love Island games, y'all. It is up and it's stuck. It's up and it's stuck. So Love Island Games Season 2, Episode 14, and it's a lot to unpack, y'all. Let's get into it. So we pick up, obviously, with the Power Squad getting the meeting in my bedroom. You know, it's going down in the bedroom as far as who is going to be a part of this duel. And why is Andrea throwing Justine's name in the ring? See, it's more about who is putting in the names of people that it's like, I got my eye on you, Andrea. I got my eye on you. What has Justine done that has been a threat since she's been back this season, other than she's a two-time winner? But up until this point, she hasn't done anything to where it shows that she's a threat. She came in last place in this last challenge. Make it make sense! Then, you guys, we got Lucinda in here, you know, really just throwing Garbi's name in there. Just throwing Garbi's name in there, every chance she gets. It was a foregone conclusion, you guys, that Toby and Tyreek were going to advocate for Josh. It was a foregone conclusion. Johnny wants Kendall gone. So none of the less, it was all. They got the text that they had to seal it with a kiss. And I was trying to figure out, okay, how were they going to play this? So they all decided, hey, we're going to be strategic on how we come back in. First up is Toby, y'all. Why does Toby hug and kiss Garbi on the forehead? I was like, no, Toby! And after all the foolishness with Kaz, another black woman that you did on your season, y'all cool now, and you're allegedly wearing her bonnets to bed on this season, but don't do that. Why did you have to kiss Garbi? I was having PTSD on how you treated Kaz your season until your blonde ex came in. Please do not give me the flashbacks, Toby. Please do not give me the PTSD of it all. I was too through. So you do that, y'all. Then we have at the fire pit, y'all. Isaiah comes over to hug Nicola. And then Johnny on the spot comes and also gives Nicola a hug and gives her a kiss. And I was like, oh no, this is about to go very, 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 very bad. Then, y'all, we have a situation where Lucinda hugs and gives Josh a kiss. And gives him 2 kisses, y'all. 2 kisses to Josh on each side of his face. And I was like, does Lucinda, you know, if this don't work out with Isaiah, I guess Josh would be, you know, the next, her next, you know, I don't know. Because you didn't need to do all that, Lucinda. Anyways, finally, y'all, we've got Gabby. And Gabby barely gave Kendall a kiss, but she hugged him and she kind of like kissed him or whatever, but it didn't look like it actually like landed on his face. But nonetheless, those were the targets: Garbi and Nicola, Josh and Kendall, like I told you it would be. I can't believe people were spreading Justine propaganda. No. What did Justine do? So, nonetheless, nobody knows what the tea is, what is going on, but everybody's acting weird, right? Everybody's acting weird, everyone's acting vulnerable, and it's just awkward, right? So, everybody goes to bed. Johnny and Gabby hide under the covers before the lights go out, and they're like, do you think anybody suspects anything? Do you think anybody knows anything? They're going to be shocked tomorrow, da-da-da-da-da-da, right? So next morning, per usual, everybody makes, breakfast and all that good stuff. Then Tyreek pulls Andrea and is like, you ain't say nothing, right? You ain't run your mouth, right? And I'm like, dang, Tyreek, like what are we doing? And so then you guys, they get a text, right? They get a text in the morning that's like, listen, look at here. I need y'all all to gather up into this fire pit. Get into this fire pit, because now we're about to break some hearts. Now some feelings are about to get hurt, right? So Kendall receives the text message, right? That the Power Squad had a meeting in the bedroom last night, and they decided on 2 boys and 2 girls to duel, right? As everybody's looking at each other like, who was in this duel? How do we know who was in the duel? And then the next text was like, listen, look at here. You were in the duel if you were sealed with a kiss. And immediately, Toby has 0 poker face and starts smiling. And Garbi gets up and she is pissed. And she's like, really bleeping, Toby? You bleeping, blah, 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 blah. You did this to me, Toby. You really kissed me on the forehead, Toby. You really had the audacity, Toby. What was the reason? I was just in the duel. So now I have to be in the duel every other day. Bet, right? Because make it make sense. If you've proven yourself in the duel, why do you need to keep going back in the duel? Like the logic isn't logicking, you guys. But obviously they want Garbi out. So nonetheless, then then everybody else is trying to figure out, okay, who else got a kiss, right? Who else was kissed? And so, then Kendall, it's exposed. Kendall was kissed. Josh realizes he was kissed, but it wasn't from Andrea. And so he's pissed because he's like, well, this is just all the Johnny show anyways. This is all the Johnny show. Johnny is the master plan. Everybody's the puppets and everything else. And Tyreek's like, listen, look here. If you're the best, you got to be the best. If you're the best, you gotta beat them, right? And so nonetheless, it's between you and Kendall. Tyreek does not care. There is 0 love lost between Josh and Tyreek. Now, Josh, I will say this. A part of the reason you're in this situation is because you completely lack your social game. Your social game is abysmal. Your social game is in the toilet. Your social game is a complete and epic disaster, Josh. From day one, you had your little thing with Tyreek for you saying that you picked up, his color, whatever, in the first challenge, and it's been on and popping ever since. But you've never done anything to cultivate any other relationships. You assumed that Chris was always going to be in the villa as your ace, as your number 1 ally, as your protector. And you did nothing once Chris got eliminated other than just get closer to Kendall. But since it has clearly been a divide, it's clearly been, everybody just in the alliances, and you never did anything to cultivate those relationships or build trust or build relationships. So in the event a situation like this happens, you could at least have somebody fighting for you. Because if Zay's supposed to be your boy, allegedly, which I don't think Zay's loyal to anyone, he is playing both sides and doing a terrible job of it. He could have at least advocated for you. But he was going to be on the mute challenge because he is not at risk, right? So nonetheless, Nicola realizes she got kissed by Johnny and she's all disgusted and everything else. So nonetheless, there's all this fallout, right? There is all of this fallout now that people know who's going to be in the duel. Garbi and Kendall, they go back up to Soul Ties and they're like, we were just in the duel. Like how many times do we have to keep going back into the duel? Then Zay is trying to play mediator for some reason and trying to talk to, answer Josh's interrogation. Because I told you Josh is HR. Josh is HR and he thinks that he runs the villa. Chris thought that he owned the villa, and he thinks that since Chris has left, that he's in charge of the day-to-day operations of what's going on in Fiji. And Josh, I'm here to tell you, that's not the case, because if it was, you would not be in the duel. Make it make sense! So they are grilling, Kendall and Josh are trying to grill Zay, like what's going on? You know what's going on. Like, what are we doing? You know there is no love lost. You know that Tyreek and Toby and Josh and Johnny want you out, Josh. Like, what is there to deliberate about? So here goes Zay. Well, we were just, trying to get, the best options, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And it's only just, you, Kendall, and Casey. I'm like, Zay, you got to get out of there. Zay, you got to get out of there. And this is the stuff that I don't like. Like, what are you doing? There's nothing to discuss. You made your decision. You're a part of their team. So now you've pissed off Toby and Tyreek and Johnny because they're looking at you like what's tea? And here comes Pick Me Lucinda, right? Pick Me Lucinda's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you guys are it was so bad like this for the guys. But didn't you just say the other day, Lucinda, that you couldn't support Justine? You couldn't be allies with the girls because, of the guys that were running things. And your loyalty was to Isaiah. Your loyalty is to Toby, your loyalty is to Tyreek, and your loyalty is to Kendall, i.e. all the men. Make it make sense. So now you're mad that the men's mad, but they've been mad at each other. It's been tense between the men. You have been in Delulu land. You have been Delulu. Even Garbi understands what the situation is. Like, make it make sense. Any type of protest you're doing is not going to prevent Kendall from being in that duel. You were already outnumbered. But now she's upset. Oh, Isaiah, he shouldn't be in the middle of this. He's got a heart of gold. This man cheated on his ex, Sydney, who is in the villa. Is that a man that's a heart of gold for you? A cheater? Make it make sense. So Zay comes back to where, the Power Squad is sitting. And, Tyreek and Toby, they're like, what are you doing? They're like, you can't smooth things over in this type of situation. There's been a line drawn in the sand since Chris left. Like, there was nothing that you could say or do that was going to rectify the situation. And then Zay realizes in the beach hut confessional, he's like, man, I just shouldn't have said anything. You think? You think there's nothing Zay could have said or done? It was a group decision at the end of the day. You are in the group. I don't care how much you love Josh and you don't have any beef with Josh on the outside. Y'all are in a game for 250,000. Wow! Friendships right now, it's not necessary. It's about the alliances and the social game and winning competitions. But you trying to smooth things over with Josh and Kendall in front of, your Power Squad team, they're going to find that sketchy. And they're going to pay you back for that, Isaiah. Because they didn't like that. They don't fool with that. If you made a decision, stand in it. But don't try to play both sides. And especially don't try to play both sides in front of people because now they're going to think that you're sketch. And that you're suspicious. Like what are we doing? Then, y'all, we have Josh and Andrea having a conversation. And Josh, really just feels as though Andrea had nothing to do with this. She was outnumbered, but then still asks her, well, where do we stand? Are you against me too? Are you my op? And she's like, I obviously want you here. Like, what are we talking about here? Like, I have no other connection here. Even though I said in the previous episode, the case was cute. Even though allegedly I dumped my boyfriend for over a year, right before the show. But nonetheless, I'm all about you. Make it make sense. Then we have Justine training Nicola, y'all. We have her training Nicola, having Nicola convinced that they're going to do some type of jousting. So they're pretending to joust at the pillows and all of this and all of that. Now, I know this is going to cause some controversy because people are going to think, why is Justine doing this? And why is she helping Nicola and not Garbi, right? And I think in Justine's mind, she doesn't believe that Garbi needs any training. She doesn't believe that Garbi needs any help, right? And if what you saw with KK needing to lock in mentally, I think it was the same case with Garbi needing to lock in mentally and everything else. But I also think it's strategic. It is also strategic because it's win-win for Justine. If Nicola, is able to display whatever Justine trains her in, then it's a good ally to have when Nicola comes back from the duel. The other side, if Nicola gets eliminated and it's a situation possibly where the dumped Islanders have to vote on who the Islanders are that make the final, that's a good ally that can advocate for Justine. Like, you know what? When I was down and out, you were the only person that helped me, that helped train me. Also, it could be a good look for the voters if Nicola is dumped. They can see, wow, Justine spent all day training with Nicola because there were multiple scenes. They were training in various places in the villa, in the hallway to the speakeasy, outside where all the pillows are, in the other sitting lounging area. So that can look good to the voters. That's like, listen, Justine's a sweetheart. She's kind. She is helping out, Nicola and trying to help her beat Garbi and all this and all that. All of the votes that we had for Nicola, we can throw Justine's way and help her make the final. Justine is always thinking 10 steps ahead. I don't think of this situation as her being anti-Garbi as much as it was. I think it was part of a strategy. I think it was part of a social game and everything else. Justine also was there for Nicola when Nicola started crying and everything else when KK said that she didn't want to speak to her, right? So Justine knew immediately right where to go when it was announced that Nicola was going to be in the duel. So I saw exactly what was happening, right? So nonetheless, we get to the duel, right? Because nothing else really happened other than Sydney hugging Garbi. But nonetheless, we get to the duel. Ariana comes in or whatever else. Like I said, she has on like a lavender pinkish version of the same gold dress that she wore before that said Mamacita and Loves Me Not and everything else, right? So I see what looks like weighted bags on the, on the ring. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be interesting. This is going to be a very interesting duel. So then we have a conversation for some reason before the duel even starts in which Josh decides he's going to unleash. And he's like, listen, look here, there's a clear divide in this villa. Me and Kendall are on the outs and da-da-da-da-da. And I think there's an alliance of Toby, Tyreek, and Johnny and everything else. And Toby's like, well, I really wouldn't say that because, Zay's with us too. It's like, what? Oh my gosh. We're not really a trio, you guys. We're not really a trio. It's more like a quad. It's more... It's more like a square alliance. It's more like a rectangle alliance. Make it make sense. So, none of the less, that conversation was hilarious. And Josh asked Zay in front of everybody, he's like, you don't think that they're going to turn on you next? What do you think is going to happen? And Zay was like, that's a valid question. Tyreek was like, don't let Josh get into your head. It's not that serious. And Zay was like, listen, look here. He's like, I'll go into a duel with anybody. Here's the thing, though. They're not going to turn on Zay yet because they're still going to attack and go after whoever survives of Josh and Kendall. And then after whoever survives of Josh and Kendall, then they'll go after Casey. Then they'll go after you, Zay. Like, what are we talking about? So, none of the less, you guys, of course, they always have the girls go first, right? So, again, there are these weighted balls. I believe there was 5 weighted balls. And there's like a beam in the center, right? And so, the goal is by the end of the round, whoever has the most weighted balls on their side loses. Whoever has the least amount of weighted balls on their side wins. And this time, it is a best of 3. But before the competition even starts, you guys, I do not see any headgear on. And I was a little bit confused by that because I was like, well, why isn't there any headgear? Because if you are throwing balls at each other to get to the other side, what if it hits you? What if it accidentally hits you somewhere? And I was like, I do not have a good feeling about this. And I was having flashbacks to the first look with the very scared and pained reactions. And I did not have a good feeling on how this was going to go, right? So the strategy that I think, I think what Nicola's strategy should have been was to hurry up and rush all of the balls on Garbi's side. And then make Garbi basically play defense and try to get those balls out of her side. But I think instead she was going like one at a time.
And Garbi is quick. Garbi's a beast. So she quickly threw those balls back. So then it became a situation where, it ended up being Nicola was on the defensive side of trying to get the balls out of her side, but it was too much to overcome, right? So Garbi easily takes round 1, right? Then we get to round 2. And Ariana's like, listen, Nicola, this is a must win. You got to do this, right? So round 2 is commencing, and in my mind, I'm thinking the round is complete, right? Because it looked like, pretty much, it looked like around the same time that round 1 was taken, right? But, and it was the same strategy Nicola was doing, and it wasn't working. Garbi is too quick with it to throw the balls back. Unfortunately, one of the 8 weighted balls hit Garbi on the right, or not Garbi. Garbi, when she was throwing the balls back to Nicola's side, one of the balls accidentally hit Nicola on the side of her ear, on the side of her head, and immediately Nicola goes down. She goes down, and I was like, what happened? I was like, what the welly-ance? Everybody's face is shocked. But then if you do a slow motion, y'all, why is Tyreek, he first puts his hand over his face or whatever, he's shocked, then he starts laughing. This man is evil. He is evil, y'all. And I was like, this is not going to end well. This is not going to end good. I'm like, whatever the outcome of this is going to be, it's not going to be a good situation, right? So in comes the medical team, guys. In comes the medical team. They're trying to do a concussion protocol, you guys, on the spot. I seen tears rolling down Nicola's face. They're trying to ask her where she's at. She says she's in Fiji. She understands what's going on. She wants to continue the round. She wants to continue competing for the duel. And, we don't hear anything, right? They remove her from the premises, right? And next thing we know, it's nighttime, right? And Garbi's just standing there. So eventually, Ariana gets word that it's a no-go for Nicola, that Nicola, unfortunately, will not be able to continue competing, and that is it, and that is all, as far as it goes. And so, nonetheless, that's it. That is it for Nicola, but the thing is, you guys, we never see Nicola again. We never see Nicola again, guys. And I want to say this. I want to say this as well. It is not Garbi's fault for what happened to Nicola. The fact that they've had headgear on for all of these other duels, and they chose today to not have any headgear on for this particular duel, knowing if you're throwing balls at each other, that there is a potential that it can hit somebody in the head and everything else. What are we doing? It hit the side, her ear and that side of her head. But nonetheless, where was the headgear? I do not think it is fair to blame Garbi. I refuse, because it's not her fault. She's throwing these balls. She's trying to survive. She's locked in, right? She's not trying to intentionally hurt anybody. So then they said, well, since Nicola's not coming back, listen, looky here, we got to do this other duel, because one of y'all got to go, right? So next up is Kendall and Josh, they're speaking about how close they are, how that's their brother, and da-da-da-da-da, but right now, it's about survival. So they go. And I like Josh's strategy. Josh is a trainer. He can do this all day. This is an easy exercise for Josh. Because what he decided to do was he was like, you know what? We can each have 1 or 2 balls in each of our sides, right? Because there's 5 balls total. We can have 1 or 2 balls on our side. I will make it so that we'll just go back and forth with 1 ball. So that way you're not running all over back and forth into the ring, losing breath and tiring yourself out trying to pick up all the balls and throw it to the other side. I liked Josh's strategy because it all made sense, right? And throw all the balls on Kendall's side and maybe just lock in on 1 ball that y'all just go back and forth with. You can let go of 1 or 2 balls that are in your back corner, Josh, but we'll just focus on 1 weighted ball that we'll go back and forth about, right? So Josh wins the first round, right? So Garbi, of course, is really cheering for Kendall and wants Kendall to lock in and wants Kendall, to get it together for this next round. So none of the less, you guys, then the next round, they really focus in, and I mean Josh really focuses in, on the strategy, on furthering the strategy of not trying to throw these balls back and forth, and really just hone in. I might have one or two balls on my side, that's okay, because Kendall has the same amount on his side. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on this one ball, and we can meet here at the middle, and I'm going to use all my might and all my strength, and I'm just going to make sure I just try to get this ball over so that you can just lose the game. And that's what ended up happening, right? And so, Ariana tries to say, oh, it was a photo finish, da-da-da-da-da, as far as how, the ball ended up on Kendall's side. No. It wasn't close, you guys. Let's just talk about it. Now, Kendall did fight his behind off. He absolutely did fight his behind off. But you guys, it was not a close competition. Let's just talk about it, right? Yes, Kendall showed some fight in the previous duel and beat the brakes off of Marvin. But are we really going to think that this was a contest as it pertains to Kendall and Josh? That was an easy match for Josh because that's what he does all day as a personal trainer. It is different exercises. It is different setup. That is an easy exercise if you are training somebody to throw different weighted balls back and forth and all of this and all of that, running drills and all of this and all of that. That was a cakewalk. Yeah, I'm sure Josh, is sweating and everything else, but he had extra motivation because he knows everybody wants him out of that villa. And he had motivation because he's really locked in with Andrea, right? So nonetheless, he did what he needed to do. Now, obviously, Kendall loses. Kendall is very emotional about this and feels like he should have done a better job. He is happy that Garbi is still staying and everything else. Garbi is just distraught that this has happened and everything else to Kendall. And she is just beside herself. I hope a new bombshell comes in for her because I'm not really seeing, are they just going to put her up with Casey? I'm not seeing that connection. I'm not seeing a spark there. So hopefully they can still bring in a couple of bombshells and everything else. So we will see how that goes, right? Nonetheless, Kendall's emotional, said that he really wanted to stay here and go to the end with Garbi. Ariana asked if there's anything that, is on the future as far as it, for Kendall, and Garbi's like, is it love? And he didn't say that. He responded with, well, we have a special connection. No. It's giving, I'm about to make up some reason to ghost you. But nonetheless, because I'm not seeing the logistics of them trying to maintain a long distance relationship, because he made it a point to say that I had a really good season. So that was what his mind was on how his image looks, but he doesn't realize how much he exposed himself with his behavior towards Garbi when it was an opportunity for Lucinda to completely throw her under the bus. So none of the less, Kendall says his goodbyes, and it's interesting. All the guys get in the photo booth with him. Not the same energy that happened with Marvin when only a couple of duos got in there and everything else. And then they tell, then the girls are chatting and they're like, it sucks that Nicola couldn't even say goodbye. So is her stuff packed up and gone? Is she gone from the show for real? Because we didn't even get to see her exit. We at least saw Chris and his alleged dislocated finger exit the villa. We haven't even seen, Nicola, unless she is still under a concussion protocol of sorts to where they want to make sure they do everything for how many days, and then she'll eventually go, is what I think. Now, there are some conspiracy theorists who think that this is another attempt to extend the sympathy island for Nicola and that she's going to be back. I would be shocked if she's back because that's crazy. Because you basically said that whoever loses goes home, and you basically said, by basing it off who completed the first round, the same situation that Johnny was in against Chris, that Garbi had the win. So nonetheless, that was the episode, y'all. And Lucinda crying for Kendall, I could care less. I could care less. You're next, girl. You are next on the chopping block, and you do not know it. You are next on the chopping block because you're doing way too much. There is way too much theatrics with you. I need her out. I need Sydney out. I just need all these people out, y'all. And I know these people are already going to have it out for Johnny, Tyreek, and Toby for how everything went down, right? So nonetheless, that is it. That is all for this video. Es todos, es final, es finito for this video. It is the end of the road for this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you're notified the moment I post content on my channel. And with that being said, I'll talk to you guys again very soon.